Thousands of people have registered at evacuation centres in New South Wales, with more expected to flood in as changing winds drive the fires toward more built-up areas. Teresa Duncan is a disaster welfare manager, and she says the next couple of hours are crucial.
We currently have 15 evacuation centres that are open on the mid-north coast and north coast area, and we have one over in New England that is still open, with additional resourcing being required as the fire direction changes this afternoon, or if it's expected to change with a southerly that will come through.
Are you expecting it to get worse in the next couple of hours?
Yes. So that is the expectation from the Rural Fire Service. So we've got, I think, northwesterly winds this morning, but we are expecting a southerly change this afternoon, which will redirect the fire closer onto built-up areas around the mid-north coast, Coffs Harbour, Port Macquarie, Wauchope, and then further north on the northern coast as well. So we just wait. It's a bit of a wait and see. We've actually had some people that have already decided to evacuate, to prepare themselves so they're ready and they're not trapped at home. We also have other areas of the state that have actually got designated catastrophic fire conditions predicted for today. So the Illawarra Shoalhaven, which is down south of Sydney, the Greater Sydney area, the Greater Hunter area as well, which covers the Central Coast as well. So all of those areas are designated catastrophic fire conditions. There are currently no fires requiring evacuation in those areas, but we have all of our staff and our community partner volunteers are all geared up, ready to go if they are required.
So, Teresa, do you have situations there where some families are separated, where children and, say, one parent has come to the evacuation centre and other family members have stayed back to look after property and houses, or try to?
Well, that is often the case. Often the husband may stay at the house. I'm not aware of any, but I do believe that is the case. I haven't spoken to any, but I know, given the communities that we're dealing with, that is often the case, that the husband will stay at home, or husband and older children may stay, and the mother and maybe elderly and the younger children will go to an evacuation centre. So
gosh, that must be incredibly stressful for families.
It would be. That's why our volunteers that we have in the centre, our chaplains and our Red Cross volunteers, are so vital to actually keep them reassurance. And we also have our centre manager, who's a Department of Communities and Justice staff member, who receives regular information and can provide briefings to the people in the centre to let them know what's going on. And that information is provided by our staff that we have in the emergency operations centres, where we have police and rural fire services that do updates just to say this is what the situation is at the moment.
Realistically, how long do you think these people are going to have to stay in the evacuation centres?
Oh, that's an unknown quantity. We're focusing at the moment through until Thursday for having centres open. But it will just depend on the actual impact of the fire. If the wind doesn't change the way they think it's going to, and the fire doesn't impact on communities as expected, then people might be able to return home in the next day or so. So we just have to wait and see.
So, of all the things you've heard moving around these evacuation centres, is there any particular story that's stuck in your head?
We've had a couple of horse studs have actually had to evacuate. So we've had I think one of the evacuation centres, it's a community-led evacuation site. It's a safer place, and it's near one of our official evacuation centres. We've had over 100 horses there. We've got goats and llamas, alpacas, chickens, cats, dogs. One of the sites actually at a showground has, in the poultry area at the showground, they've got all the poultry, but they've also got cats in cages. So it's a bit of an unusual mix, but they've made use of the space that they could. So people are bringing their animals with them, which is really important. A lot of other farmer areas, they've actually just had to open the gates to let their cattle go because they haven't been able to move them, to load them up, to get them out of the area. So to try and give them a chance, they've actually just opened the gates. We've had some cattle that have actually found their way down into gullies, and fire's gone over the top, and they've been fine. So the impact on the farmers, not only worried about their houses, but they're also worried about their stock. So they're all eager to get back home to see how it's all going.
And that's Teresa Duncan, a disaster welfare manager.